All right, so now we're going to move on to section 7.4. Now, our objective for this section is to find and to use relationships in similar right triangles. All right, in the first video for this section, so 7.4.1, we're going to find similar right triangles. And then in our second video, 7.4.2, we're going to use relationships in similar right triangles. And so for this video, we're going to concentrate on when you draw an altitude to the hypotenuse of a right triangle. And from there, when you do that, you form three pairs of similar right triangles. So if I have this right triangle here, what we're focusing on is when we draw an altitude to the hypotenuse. So here would be my altitude. It's going from a vertex and it's perpendicular to the other side. So when we do this, we create three pairs of similar right triangles. The first one is the first right triangle that we have, the bigger one. The second one that's going to be similar to is to this smaller one over here. And then the third one that it's similar to is this triangle over here. So all three that we draw there are going to be similar. All right, so let's go through why. So when we have this triangle, ACB, all right, so I'm going to first draw this over here off to the side. All right, so we have ACB. And when we draw this altitude going from our right angle to our hypotenuse is what we have here. So CD is our hypotenuse. We get these two other smaller triangles that we can now talk about. Now, in this big main triangle that we have a right angle, and in this smaller one that we created now, ADC, we have another right angle. And both of those triangles share this angle A, so we know that these two angles are congruent. So based on angle-angle similarity, we're able to say that triangle ABC is similar to triangle ACD. All right, so we're able to make that statement here because they both share the angle A and they both have a right angle, so they have to be similar. And it's very, very close to our other triangle as well. Here, when we draw this line down again, now we have this third smaller triangle that we have over here. And then when we look at here, we have angle C and angle D. This one, now they're both right angles. And then they both share that angle B. So that means this angle is congruent to this angle. So through angle-angle as well, we know that these two triangles are also similar. So we can say triangle ABC is similar. So in this case, we know that angle A and angle C would have to be congruent on a third angle theorem. So CBD. And then since ABC is similar to both ACD and CBD, we can then say that these two triangles are similar as well. All right, so we're able to then say that all three of these triangles that are created when we create an altitude from the right angle to the hypotenuse, that they're all similar. All right, and we can use it because of the angle-angle that I showed you with both. All right, so now we're just going to do one example on our own, and that's it for this video. So what similarity statement can we write relating to three triangles in the diagram? All right, so here we have our main overall triangle. I'm going to highlight it in yellow, X, Z, Y. And we have a right angle. So we know it's a right triangle. Then they drew an altitude going from our right angle to our hypotenuse. So now we have these three triangles. So I'm going to draw them all off to the side. So we have the original ZYX. Then we have this other triangle that's created that I'll highlight in green that I'm going to redraw off to the side. So we have this triangle that's created. So that would be triangle. I'm going to draw it looking the same way. So it'll be this triangle here where W is our right angle. So we WYZ. And then we have our last right triangle, which is this one here. And I'll draw that in blue. So that would then be looking the same way. So our angle W is also the right angle again. And this will be X and this one will be Y. All right, so I rotated and flipped some of these other triangles that we drew from there. But by doing this now, we're going to first focus on the first two triangles, so these two here. And by doing this, we have a right angle in both, and they both have that entire angle Z within their triangle. So I can say that this angle and this angle are congruent. So by angle-angle, I'm able to make the similarity statement that triangle ZYX is similar to triangle. So we know Z is congruent to Z, so Z has to go first. Y was congruent to angle W, so W will go second. And X is congruent to Y, so it would be ZWY. All right, so we know those two triangles are going to be similar. And then from these two triangles, we can also make a similarity statement. So they both have a right angle, so we know that these two angles are congruent. And they both have that entire angle X in their figure, so we know that this angle has to be congruent to this angle. So I can then make another similarity statement that triangle ZYX is similar to triangle. So Z would be similar to triangle to angle Y, so Y would have to go first. Y in this one is going to be congruent to angle W, so it would be W, and then X was congruent to angle X, so YWX. All right, so we know that these are two similarity statements that we can create, but we want to create one similarity statement. We can also then add we can add one more similarity statement, and we can say that these two triangles are similar to each other. So triangle ZWY is similar to triangle YWX. Another thing that you could have done, I'm just going to erase this real quick, is since we know that these two are going to be in fact similar to each other, I can just take this and write it at the end. So I can say, and this is also similar to triangle YWX. All right, so either way that you write it, I'm fine with. That is it for this video.